What really got this escalated, so that was called a flagrant.
Forget polite basketball, because what just went down in the WNBA proves some players would rather throw cheap shots than play legitimate defense.
Well, one thing I won't do after shitting all over the court is play the victim card like Sid the Sloth does after every bad game she has. All 4 of her wins have come against the bottom 3 teams in the league. I promise I'm going to drop 40 on Chicago when we play them again. I'm going to make her trademark the phrase, Caitlin owns me next.
We're talking about the shocking fallout after the league's absolutely pathetic response to the constant targeting of Caitlin Clark. And trust me, that punishment was so flimsy, it didn't solve a thing. It only poured gasoline on an already raging fire.
When you are good at basketball, you're pretty, and you got grit, those 3 things make you bad to the bone. And I think this is one of the new trends that's going on in the WNBA, in my personal opinion, is that not only will you be good at basketball, but you also, some of these women will look like women, right? They used to look like dudes. But now they look like beautiful women that are playing basketball.
This isn't just about a single foul, or even one bad game. This is about a league that's been teetering on the edge, a league where its biggest star is being treated like a punching bag, and the powers that be are looking the other way. We've got the real tea on everything unraveling behind the scenes, from the players who are absolutely fed up, to the ones who are clearly letting their jealousy do the talking.
I love it. I love competitiveness. I think it's great for the game. I think when people watch basketball and they think of basketball being physical, being competitive, being a little chippy, they think about us. But I think W is just as competitive and maybe even more chippy. You know what I mean?
The WNBA is in crisis mode, and frankly, it's about time someone pulled back the curtain on this whole mess. Get ready, because the truth about what's really going on in women's basketball is about to drop.
As you guys can see here, JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin Clark. She swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin Clark nudges her off because JC stays in her face. And then Tina Charles runs over and is kind of wagging her finger in Caitlin Clark's face. And then Marina Mabrey comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor.
Before this last explosion, the writing was on the wall. The Indiana Fever had been navigating a brutal stretch of their season, and at the heart of their struggles was a pattern that had become impossible to ignore. Caitlin Clark, the league's undeniable superstar rookie, was taking an unprecedented number of hits. This wasn't just typical WNBA physicality, it was something more pointed, more aggressive. Opponents seemed to view her not just as a competitor, but as a target, and the sheer volume of contact she endured far exceeded what any rookie, no matter how prominent, should face. Tensions were already sky-high before this game even tipped off. Every possession felt like a powder keg waiting to ignite. We'd seen the warning signs, hard fouls that seemed to go beyond the call of competitive play, constant trash talk from opposing benches, and players initiating contact long after the whistle blew. You could feel the frustration simmering on the Fever's side, a slow burn of exasperation as their star player continued to be battered.
About the WNBA as a whole, the moment they're having right now, and Caitlin, and kind of this new era seemingly of women's basketball.
The ball is so far away. Like, the ball is here! The ball is here! The ball is here! How did she double eye poker? The ball is here! Like, how did the referees watch this and come to the conclusion that it was a flagrant 1? How did they come to the conclusion it was a flagrant, not a flagrant 2? Like, how did they come to the conclusion that it is a flagrant and not a flagrant 2? I would have had more respect if they said it was a no call, because they could at least feign ignorance.
Caitlin Clark was consistently in the thick of it all, the league's biggest draw, yet seemingly unprotected, enduring foul after foul, elbow after elbow, just waiting for the breaking point. This game wasn't an isolated incident, it was the inevitable climax of weeks, even months, of unchecked aggression. The simmering tensions finally boiled over midway through the game in a moment that sent shockwaves across the league. JCS Sheldon, guarding Caitlin Clark closely, initiated contact. But what followed was no accident. Sheldon's hand went straight for Clark's face, making undeniable contact directly with her eye. The entire arena held its breath. You could almost hear the collective gasp as Clark recoiled, clutching her face, clearly in immediate and excruciating pain. She stumbled backward, trying to shake off the impact, visibly shaken. What happened next was a travesty of justice that left fans and players alike absolutely furious. Despite the blatant nature of the contact, the referees, in a decision that defied belief, called only a flagrant 1 foul. A flagrant 1. There was no ejection, no serious warning, just a minor penalty for an act that looked intentionally aggressive. It left everyone asking, how could officials witness such a clear hit to a player's face and conclude it wasn't a flagrant 2, or even worse, a direct ejection?
Now let's watch this in slow motion. Here, JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's 1. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her, like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabrey, bat out of hell, chucks Caitlin Clark to the ground.
What is going on? Protect Caitlin Clark at all costs, please. Enough of this.
The ball was nowhere near the play, yet the contact was undeniable. It felt like a blatant disregard for player safety and a shocking misjudgment of intent. But the disrespect didn't end there. Moments later, Sheldon continued her relentless targeting, grabbing Clark's arm. Slowed-down replays, which everyone has seen now, clearly showed her digging her nails into Clark's skin, just another petty, physical jab in a game already spiraling out of control. And then, as if on cue, Mabrey came flying in, delivering a brutal shove that sent Caitlin Clark crashing to the ground. It looked more like a wrestling ring than a basketball court. The Indiana Fever's biggest star, the league's most valuable asset, was not just being fouled, she was being aggressively targeted, repeatedly, and the officials seemed utterly unwilling to intervene and protect her. This was the point of no return. The moment that controversial flagrant 1 was called, or rather, the moment it wasn't called a flagrant 2 or an ejection, the internet absolutely detonated.
The ball is here! The ball is here! How did she double eye poker? The ball is here!
And Caitlin Clark in this particular game kept complaining that she was like scratching her arm and complained to the officials about it. And honestly, the entire game, they were jawing at each other, they were chirping at each other. Marina Mabrey always on the side, coming to her teammates' defense.
Within hours, hashtags demanding accountability, even player bans, were trending across every platform. Fans flooded social media, openly calling it the dirtiest play of the year and condemning the perceived bias. Clips of the incident, especially the slow-motion replays, went viral, racking up millions of views in a single day, with comments universally echoing the sentiment, "This isn't basketball, it's a disgrace." The outrage wasn't confined to hardcore WNBA fans, it spilled into mainstream media, with prominent voices in sports and entertainment openly questioning the league's integrity and demanding better protection for its players. But the real tea comes from behind the curtain. After the league's laughable punishment was announced, JCS Sheldon's reaction was telling. She was visibly furious, storming off the court, slamming objects, and outright refusing to engage with reporters. This wasn't just about a fine, it felt like a calculated move by the league to make her a scapegoat, to protect their new golden goose at all costs. And in doing so, they inadvertently confirmed what many suspected, the league office is playing favorites. Sheldon is now widely painted as the villain, the epitome of everything fans believe is wrong with how the WNBA handles its rising stars. And she's not alone in that frustration. While other players may be keeping their public comments guarded, the whispers behind the scenes are growing louder. There's a palpable resentment festering within the locker rooms. Many players feel the league is bending over backward for Clark, from scheduling advantages to the overwhelming media spotlight, creating an uneven playing field. In their eyes, the WNBA is clearly picking sides, and it's not the side of the established veterans or the collective. This incident simply blew the lid off that simmering internal division, exposing a league deeply fractured and playing a dangerous game with its own foundation. With less than a minute ticking off the clock and the game seemingly decided, the simmering rage finally erupted into an unforgettable, chaotic climax. JCS Sheldon drove hard to the rim, attempting a layup that, under normal circumstances, would have been routine. But this was anything but normal. From out of nowhere, Sophie Cunningham, with a clear and undeniable purpose, came flying in. She didn't just foul, she took Sheldon down. Cunningham's arms were up, her body slamming Sheldon to the floor in a hit that was less about stopping a basket and more about sending a resounding message. The arena, already buzzing with tension, exploded. It was a scene straight out of a contact sport, not a basketball game. Players sprinted toward the escalating confrontation from both benches. Coaches were on their feet, screaming, trying to pull their teams apart. Fans, some cheering wildly, others shouting in disbelief, were on the edge of their seats, witnessing what looked like a full-blown brawl. This was the moment everyone had been dreading, yet, for many, also anticipating, the physical manifestation of weeks of unaddressed grievances. After what felt like an eternity of chaos, the referees, scrambling to regain any semblance of control, finally made their calls. The repercussions were swift and severe, cementing this incident as one of the season's most controversial. Sophie Cunningham, JCS Sheldon, and even Lindsay Allen were all ejected from the game. 3 players tossed. The crowd was stunned, realizing the gravity of what had just unfolded. While many more could have easily joined them on the sidelines, the message was clear: the on-court animosity had reached its breaking point, culminating in a dramatic, physical confrontation that left no doubt about the deep-seated hostilities between these teams. In the wake of the on-court fireworks, the WNBA finally stepped in, reviewing the game footage and announcing their disciplinary actions. JCS Sheldon and Sophie Cunningham both received fines, and the referee in charge was also penalized for losing control of the game. On the surface, it looked like accountability, but a deeper look reveals a different story, one that left fans utterly enraged. The penalties felt like a public relations move, not a true commitment to player safety or fair play. Many immediately pointed out that the fines, while technically sanctions, were a mere slap on the wrist for the severity of the incidents, especially compared to the physical toll taken. This sparked a tidal wave of public outcry, particularly when juxtaposed with the handling of similar incidents in men's sports. Fans were furious, asking a critical question that resonated across social media: would the NBA ever allow its biggest stars, a LeBron James or a Steph Curry, to be repeatedly targeted, blindsided, and slammed to the ground without far more severe consequences for the aggressors? The answer, for most, was a resounding no. The perceived double standard amplified the belief that the WNBA was failing to adequately protect its most valuable asset, a player who is single-handedly reshaping the league's financial landscape. To understand the true gravity of the situation, you need to look at the numbers. Industry experts and finance analysts have publicly highlighted Caitlin Clark's unprecedented economic impact. She's not just a player, she's a phenomenon, reportedly accounting for a staggering percentage of the WNBA's entire economic activity in her rookie season. We're talking about one player driving a quarter or more of the league's revenue, transforming low-attendance arenas into sold-out spectacles and skyrocketing franchise values overnight. Yet, despite being the undisputed engine of the WNBA's current surge in popularity and financial growth, she continues to be treated with a shocking lack of protection on the court. Fans are not just complaining, they are demanding real change: multi-game bans for flagrant acts, automatic ejections for hits to the face, and fines that actually reflect a player's salary percentage, not just flat fees that mean nothing to high earners. If the WNBA truly values its future, and the very star who is fueling it, the current system is simply unsustainable. This isn't just about one game, or one player's frustration. This recent explosion on the court has peeled back the curtain on a truth fans have suspected for weeks: the WNBA is at a pivotal crossroads. One path leads to the establishment of stricter rules, genuine enforcement, and a clear, unwavering commitment to protecting its most valuable assets, its players, especially those who are driving its unprecedented growth. This path requires a serious investment in consistent officiating and a willingness to penalize aggressive, non-basketball plays that threaten player safety and the league's image. The other path, the one the league seems dangerously close to taking, leads straight into chaos. If the WNBA continues to allow its stars, particularly Caitlin Clark, to be targeted without real consequences, if these relentless physical assaults persist and lead to a serious injury, or if Clark simply decides the environment is no longer sustainable for her, the implications are catastrophic. The league wouldn't just lose a player, it would lose its biggest draw, its primary revenue stream, and potentially its entire future. Sponsors could pull back, fans could check out, and the burgeoning interest we're witnessing could evaporate overnight. JCS Sheldon's outburst, her undeniable fury, became a lightning rod for all these underlying tensions. It proved what many have long suspected: the locker rooms are divided, the players are on edge, and the league itself is playing with fire by not addressing these systemic issues head-on. The WNBA is being forced to confront its identity, its commitment to player safety, and its long-term vision. So, the real question hanging over the entire league is this: will the WNBA finally step up and assert control before it's too late? Is JCS Sheldon truly the villain in all of this, or is she merely the latest casualty in a league that's lost its way, struggling to manage the spotlight and the raw competitiveness it has fostered? We want to hear your take. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Who do you think is truly to blame for this escalating drama? If you're as fired up as we are about how this league is being run, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for all the hottest tea, and make sure those notifications are turned on. Because trust me, the drama in the WNBA is only just getting started.